That's right, Sharon. With this latest arrival of refugee hero Ukrainians, the island has sank. So several areas within the island have started flooding, including Belmullet, Ballyhonus, Brickens, Ballindine, Ballishrool, all of the valleys, many of the valleys, nearly all of the valleys, in fact, Ballymote, Ballymackelligot, Ballymacandrew.
And how does this explain the rise in drumlins?
Well, the drumlins, of course, were a feature placed there by God to test our devotion many thousands of years ago when he placed the dinosaurs and drumlins all around the world. The drumlins, of course, being Ireland's example of volcanic, extinct volcanoes. I don't know.
So, what have the Oireachtas had to say about this?
Many things, none of it making much sense. Of course, they've said words such as sustainability, diversity and sustainable biodiversity and inclusivity. And learnings, of course, is their latest one in terms of learnings. But no answers coming out of the Oireachtas, no answers coming out of any houses of the Oireachtas, and indeed the houses of the Oireachtas themselves are now up for sale.
Because large chunks of Ireland seem to be
inhabitable,
and flooded.
And flooded, of course.
Flooded.
Yes, much of Ireland is now underwater.
And much of it underwater by this torrent of trouble.
The trouble, of course, emerging one from Shell pipeline over in Ballycroy, wasn't it, originally, where the Shell pipeline was installed and a bog was removed, and that bog, of course, was moved over to the Aran Islands. The Aran Islands then sold it on to the Isle of Man, and the Isle of Man was towed away to the Horn of Africa.
Again, the Irish racecourse industry has said nothing of any proportion to do with the island of Inishmurray off the coast of Sligo being reduced to a private land with lots of hares being bred there, have said that they are not responsible either. So that's three confirmed landowners confirming that this is neither their problem nor will they be
able to solve it.
Yes.
No solutions are ever coming out of the horse racing industry when it comes to the flooding crisis, of course. But we'll get back to that later in the programme in our in-depth interview with the head of the Flood Racing Horse Racing Alliance, John McNamara.
But next this evening, it's to Dublin, where the LGBT community parades have taken out a show of force from a primary school and Nenera, where young children as young as 4 are being given lessons on fashion and frantics and all sorts of colourful, emotive language is also being heard on the streets. So it's over to Bosco now for his report. Just to be aware, some viewers may find some of the views progressive.
That's right, Sharon. For more on this Helen McAtee swing scandal, Helen is great on the swing with her glass of wine and her bottle of wine incident. We're joined now by our Helen is Great McAtee correspondent, Helen McEntee. Helen McEntee, are you there?
No, this is actually Helen.
Oh right, sorry, wrong line. We'll try and get back to Helen. Have we got Helen on the line there?
Which Helen?
The other one. Helen McEntee. Have we got Helen is Great McAtee there?
No, this is Helen McEntee.
Okay, Helen McAtee will...
Secretary.
Helen McAtee, you were the secretary of Helen is Great McAtee?
Yes.
Helen McAtee, secretary of Helen is Great McAtee. Helen is Great McAtee. Welcome to studio.
Thank you, Brian. Well, what Helen has been working on this week is an inclusive package for leaves, for dandruff, and for anything left over by dandruff. And she has said that the most difficult part of the process would be to really, if everyone could come together and stop fighting over these problems and yet trust in government and government sources.
And no mention of God there, of course, Helen.
No. Helen has...
And yes, God created dandruff and God created leaves and moss. So
Well, I'll
any
have to get-
statement from the Minister on that?
I will have to email her, and I will if you would like to forward your concerns to Helen is great.
At Helen is great, McEntee.ie. You've been doing that all week, Helen.
I'm Ellen.
Oh, sorry, Helen. Wrong line there. Back to you in the studio.
And now for our Prince of Pride moment, we are joined by, elected on the third count, 3 times a man, and of course a very high born Indian Irish resident, future Taoiseach and somewhat Taoiseach in waiting and in the wings. It has to be the one and only, bought and paid for his degree, Leo Varadkar.
So, thank you. So, thank you. So,
Leo, there's a crisis, and many people are facing this crisis, and you're facing it straight on. Now, what else could you face in this crisis, apart from a few lines and...
no lines. So I like to think about things in terms of learnings. So I like to think about things in terms of squiggly lines, not straight lines. Sustainably.
Okay, very good. And Leo, where will you holiday this year?
Oh, me and Matt will be going back to Matt's parents' house in Mayo. Of course, we have a private island there in Mayo. Me and Matt love going up to Matt's parents' house. I love them donkey fucking cunts in Mayo.
And will you be travelling by boat or helicopter?
Helicopter and the private jet. Matt will take the
private
helicopter,
jet.
I will take the private jet.
And will you be meeting some young one for
Yes,
a photo
young boys outside national schools.
And will you be meeting some other young one for a photo op? Yes. And Leo, how much money have you spent on PR?
Nothing, only your taxes. Only your taxes, no idea. No idea. Haven't put my hand in my pocket for years. So in terms of learnings, I'm learning a lot.
Lovely. And Leo, as we have you on the line, there is talk of a leak and
I got fucked up the hole last night by Matt, and it's still coming out my ass. Sorry about that. Nothing I can do about it.
I'm afraid we'll have to leave it there. For those of you who have been concerned about any of those problems,
Anasol.
consult Anasol, get it around it. Sponsors of the Late RTE programmes, and of course sponsors of the HSE approved Anasol. Get it before it gets you. Anasol, get it around it.